but also that state of being, it's coming from the heart. So now I will put the timer on. We close our eyes, we relax. Remember, if you can go into gratitude without remembering anything, just by saying Alhamdulillah, good. Otherwise, remember something to go there because you're still not familiar with that feeling. Okay, inshallah. Bismillah, timer is on. Alhamdulillah. 3 minutes is, there is lots of barakah, lots of blessings in 3 minutes. Whenever I forget, and especially when I have to finish something and I feel like I only have half an hour, and I said, just a second. Half an hour is 10 times 3 minutes. Take it 3 minutes at a time. And it becomes, the more we slow down, the more we are less likely to do unnecessary things, because now we are open to receiving, to intuition, to guidance. And actually, just like 2 days ago, in my mind, I had so many things to do. So it was like overwhelming in half an hour. And then when I stopped and I realized that why all these things can be actually put together, and it became only 2 things to do. It was in my panic things that I saw it as so many things to do. I couldn't see the connection between all those things. They were all separate. So there is a lot of rahmah in slowing down, listening, being present. Now, today, some of you who come to the weekly online class may have heard that I thought about, let's learn what it means to reflect and start learning how to reflect. When in the Quran it keeps saying, reflect, reflect, you don't reflect, those who reflect, those who don't reflect, what does it mean? And why did the Prophet ﷺ say that reflecting for an hour is better than worshiping for a year? And it doesn't mean that reflect and don't worship. It means that the quality of your worship is going to be totally different. So just an hour of reflection may upgrade the quality of your worship for a year. And in another version, it's for 60 years. It means a lifetime. So this reflection, we will see how it's important as we learn what it is and how it's done, inshallah. So in the beginning, I want to invite you to let's reflect. And when we reflect on one thing at a time. Why? Because we cannot focus on many things at the same time. That's how we are created. And that's why in the Quran, when we are giving an example, it is always a specific example. It says, look at this, because we can't look at many things and reflect on all of them at once. So now, like in the Quran, the examples given are usually simple, everyday examples that everyone knows and that everyone is familiar with, and therefore everyone can reflect on those things. So something very familiar is when I'm thirsty. When you're thirsty, what do? You drink water. So I'm thirsty, I drink water, my thirst is quenched. This event, whatever you know of reflection, I invite you to reflect it. You will realize what you know, so you can start asking questions and comparing and learning, okay? So now we'll have 3 minutes. Everyone will close their eyes and just imagine, I am thirsty, I drink water, my thirst is quenched. What's going on? Reflect. Whatever you know about reflection. Just if you find you are trying, start thinking about something else, just no judgment, just go back and stay with that, with this event. I'm putting again the Bismillah. Would you like to share?
I would like to share.
Yes.
The first observation I had was that the 3 minutes were getting shorter and shorter. The first time I did this last month, I felt like it was half hour. So even today, 2, 3 minutes.
You're getting more familiar. Yeah, you're more familiar with being in that state. Right. You're not getting impatient. Let's go up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so you were saying, you know, I'm thirsty, drink water, I'm quenched. And so, but then those thoughts kept taking me to, oh, subhanAllah, Allah so merciful that I can even digest this water, or Allah so merciful that I have water and people don't have water. Oh, well, what is my responsibility in making sure everybody else has water? You know, like, and then I wasn't sure in my mind, was that, am I straying away from quenched thirst, or is this where the reflection takes me?
We'll keep it.
Okay.
Let's keep that in mind, and if I forget, please remind me. Or maybe I should take notes. Yes?
I just get into different scenarios in the past, like when I was speaking and I was quenched, so it kept reminding me of those incidents, like things that happened in my life, and then I got distracted by the incidents, and my mind wanted to go to what happened in the incidents, and I had to pull myself back, be like, nope, I'm thinking about water, thinking about being quenched by thirst, and focusing on that, and then I kept thinking about waterfalls and nature, and thinking about how when we exercise, when we lose water, and Allah gives us opportunity to replenish water, and thinking about just all the many places that we can find water. So that's what I was thinking about, but I found it difficult sometimes. Like I relate, when you say reflect, sometimes I just think about past experiences, and then those past experiences sometimes they kind of pull you, they trigger you to think about something else that's attached to that past experience that may not be related to a feeling of gratitude, and that's why I was fighting myself, trying to be like, nope.
So you were remembering instead of reflecting.
I was remembering, and yeah. Then I need to work on the reflecting.
That's what we want to do. And we want to know where we are. Because if we were born just like that, we know how to reflect, then there would be no need to teach us. We have the capacity and the potential. And when we are taught, we say, yes, this is it. But can we figure it out on our own? Then we would not feel the need for divine guidance. It will be superfluous, but it's not. Now I feel like, oh yes, I don't know how to reflect. I need to learn how to reflect. Yes, Eric?
Yeah, just to share my process. So I also started remembering time when I was thirsty, and I tried to almost kind of step into that experience and to look around. So what I noticed is that I very rarely say I'm thirsty. It's much more kind of embodied. My mouth feels dry, or I have a bit of an itch in the throat or something. And then when I drink, there's a sense of relief. So I was reflecting on, I don't know if I can claim reflecting, but what was coming up was the fact that in contrast to that initial exercise of gratitude, I think my default practice is to say, I should be comfortable. When I'm thirsty, it's an aberration from that. I drink and I return to my comfort. But what that doesn't allow is a lot of space for me for that gratitude. And in fact, the gratitude practice inverses that. So in some ways, the default experience should be the dry mouth, the itch in the throat. And then there's the drinking of water that allows me to have a greater sense of gratitude, and the relief is not an expectation of the norm, but rather the gift of the exception. Does that make sense? So that's kind of where my thought is.
When we run, I'm just saying it between brackets, but when the more we learn how to reflect and we practice it, the more we will start reveling in every state. So we are not in that state which normally when we don't know how to reflect, it feels like instinctual to us, like everyone is like that, even animals. But that's the difference between us and animals, is like I'm feeling thirsty, and if there is water, I don't even wait until I'm really thirsty, unless it's Ramadan, because immediately, where's the water? I'm impatient because that's something bad. I'm not saying it, but actually that's how I am experiencing it. That's something bad or discomfortable, and I got to get rid of it as soon as possible. That's why I understand you're saying like it's the reverse of gratitude, because I don't know the meaning of it. But when we start reflecting, that's why last time and during the retreat, I said always pause, slow down. And when just a second, what is this discomfort? What is this dryness? And of course, that when we know the meaning of the dry mouth, and that the more I am aware of the meaning, the more the body maybe it's maybe discomforting because I'm not used to. The body is always uncomfortable with something new. If you start exercising, in the beginning it says, I'm not going to the gym again, or I'm not going to walk again, because everything starts aching, all our muscles are aching. Does it mean that walking is bad? No. So the more we are aware of the meaning, the more the heart, the soul starts enjoying staying in that state, especially when you don't have to worry about, is there water or not? You know that water is accessible. And so you stay there, you pause there, you revel in it, you stay, you listen to the meaning of it, to the message in it. And then when you take the water, now there is some kind of reverence now. It's not like, where's the water? Now the meaning of water, the interaction is going to be very different. In the first one, the body is almost like controlling the whole thing. I don't like it. It says, okay, you have to get me what I want now. But when you know the meaning, okay, it's like in Ramadan, we wait for the whole day. It's not like you're going to die, just be patient a little bit. And we start enjoying, but this joy is not the bodily joy, but the joy of the heart, the joy of the soul, another kind of joy. So we'll get, this is what we want to learn. Anyone else? Yes.
I come from a science background, so I was thinking it that way.
H2O? Were you thinking H2O or something?
Yeah.
Hydrogen and oxygen.
When I drink this water, what happens when I drink it? Like, what's the process of digestion? And then how does my body use this water? And then why does my body need this water so much? I just was taking it that way and I wasn't biologic. So then it just kept me to like constantly like go into a deeper and deeper reflection. Now I'm thirsty for water.
Yeah. Okay, so that is a type of reflection. It is not the reflection that the Quran teaches us. Why? Because I am going from one event to a second one, to a third one, to a fourth one, and I am not stopping at the meaning of each one. Right? Water is familiar, and I did not even reflect on it. Now I went to hydrogen or oxygen, two unknowns. I'm not even familiar with them, and I don't know how to, I can't even reflect. If I have not reflected with water, can I reflect with hydrogen and oxygen and how they come together to make this new compound, this new being? I can, it is possible when I learn. But what I'm doing, actually, I'm drifting from one event to another, all of them are amazing, but actually I have not reflected and stayed present with one. And then another time I can go to the second one and the third one. think Naima first.
But the direction it took me, I was like, water. It was like, can we exist without water? And then it took me to what happens. I started asking myself questions like, what happens between your body knowing that it's water and you thinking about it? Like, what's that space between that? And it made me think also, like, well, how many things does our body know just because it knows it before our mind actually thinks about it? And so I think that like the pause that you were mentioning, like the space in between is really where you kind of, well, you can actually see a lot. And so that's where it took me. Like, why can't we exist without water? Okay, who does the water come from? How did it get here? You know, like all these things, like, and think about like the universe and it being mostly water, and then just like crazy talk started happening in my head. But that's just where I went.
Inshallah. Good. Yes.
For me, I first repeated the phrase that you said, you know, I'm thirsty, whatever, I drink water and it quenches my thirst. And all of a sudden my mouth started salivating. And then I started thinking about the lectures that you said before that, and I guess maybe in a way it's remembering. It's like the water is not what's quenching my thirst. It's something that God sent to me, and it's you know, a blessing from God, and it's there to help me remember Him and all that. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this. I need to be going back on the phrase. So I just started repeating the phrase, and like some other thoughts came in my head. So so
There is still like not sure about what to do with this.
great.
Is it okay to have this metacognition while we're reflecting? Because like metacognition means saying, telling ourselves we shouldn't be thinking about this. This is in the training wheel space of reflecting, and we're still trying to figure out because I find myself doing that all the time. So
Yeah.
is
But
that
once
part
we
of it?
once we learn, then you don't ask yourself, should I be doing this or that? You would say, oh, I was supposed to be doing this and I'm doing something else. Once you learn how to cook your soup, and then you say, oh, I forgot to put this or this ingredient or something. But in the beginning, if you have no idea, you just saw soup once and you say, I think they put water and some things, and I'm not sure, what did they put in? Like, because I've seen soup, I have an idea what it is. Maybe I've never even eaten it, but I heard that it's eaten and it is liquid. But I never seen someone, no one taught me how to cook it. So I want to emphasize here the need for divine guidance. We have a sense of what reflection is, but we need to learn how to do it in the way we are taught in the Quran. Yes.
What is? Oh, I just got it. I'm sorry. I was going to ask you what reflection was in Arabic. Tadabbur, right? Is it tadabbur?
There is tadabbur, there is also tafakkur. In the Quran or in the Hadith, it's more tafakkur.
So what is the root word? Like if I were to search, like if I were to need to search it on my own,
Fakara,
like
fakara, fakkara, tafakkara. Mhm.
And then so tadabbur is not it.
No, tadabbur is also part of it. All these words are interconnected.
And what's the root word?
Dabara,
Dead or not?
del,
Bara.
del without nokta, del,
And then bara.
dara.
Thank you.
Yes.
I wanted to share as well. It took me a while to get to the water temperature. Do I want hot? I had some distraction there. But then, like everybody else mentioned, this kind of sense of thirsty and being quenched, and that water and like quenching. And I'm so dependent on it. A little bit awe and gratitude, and then I'm so thirsty for it. And then we had watched this documentary about the elephants in a particular season looking for water as a whole herd,
and they're so like thirsty. It's like in a desert-like area, and then everybody is looking for this water. And then I shifted to cells. I mean, even cells are thirsting for water, so the water runs through my veins to get to the cells. And then I was like, what do the cells do with this? You know, why is it such a big deal? And then I got started with that kind of biological thing. And what do? Is I think they break it down, but it could be anything. And so then perhaps it's not from the water because it's just some sort of liquid. And if you drank something else, it wouldn't be quenched. I thought about Coke. Drinking it doesn't really quench you. It seems to quench, but it actually doesn't quench you. It makes you more thirsty. So it's like that liquid and life. It's almost arbitrary that these two are connected. And then I was like, maybe that would take me somewhere, but at the same time breaking it down. And that moment, what do the cells do with this? And what's going on? It's just a liquid. That was an interesting moment. And then
But those are actually distractions. I mean, not when they are not distractions in life, but when I am trying to reflect on one thing, my mind goes to something that is equally amazing, but like, just a second, you can't do all of them at once. You do one, like, you can't be baking your cake and making the soup at the same time. Finish one and then the other. When you start doing it all at once, it becomes like you get neither. Now,
so I think it seems like there's a potential there because when we break it down, you realize that it could have been anything at the end of the molecular level. This is the molecule that this particular thing needs it, but there's no reason it couldn't have been a different molecule. Like you realize that it isn't really from the water. At the same time, the gratitude seemed to get more elusive as I went down.
okay, good
I am
that you
thirsty
said.
versus the cells thirsty.
What I am talking about is there are two things involved here. Let's call it the adab of reflecting. The adab of reflecting is that we need to learn to reason with the heart. Now, what Isra just shared is something that I need to know, necessary. There are some steps that I need to know in order to use as tools that I learned from the Quran that I will be using when I am reasoning with the heart. I will be practicing them. But when I'm practicing drinking water, I'm thirsty drinking water, then I need to stay there. Something else comes to my mind, write it down, and later. Now I am focusing on this. It's not like you have someone, a guest, that you are supposed to be very respectful and you want to show your respect, and you're talking with him, and then suddenly you saw someone else or something else, and then you are busy with the other one. You have to be present here, and then, especially that the other one is not coming to you. It's just there in the background. And instead of being busy with being present with your guests, I am busy with what are they doing there. Finish here and then go there. So there is an adab of being present, slowing down, and learning to reason with the heart. And of course, there are some steps that we need to learn from the Quran, because once I pause and I am slowing down and I'm present, what I'm going to do? The Quran teaches me what to do. Now, before, in general, where we find ourselves is, I'll call it superficial tawheed. It's what Imam Nursi, rahimahullah, calls it. Actually, I strongly recommend that you read his works. They are online for free. It's called Risale Nur by Badi'u Zaman, Imam Badi'u Zaman Said Nursi. And it is all about establishing these things. And you can read them together. We do actually read them together once a week. For years, I've been reading them. Everything I know is the source of it is from there. And I'm very grateful to him, rahimahullah. May Allah bless.
His name and the title.
It's called Risale Nur. In English, they write it like this, Risalat Nur. And he's called Saeed Al-Nursi. Now, so we all start in a state where we have a general sense of, we look around like this generally, we say there must be a maker, a creator. Very rarely people say no. Most people will say, yeah, there must be something. But that a creator, we don't know much about him yet. So it feels very distant. We feel like we don't feel God is very close, because a creator, there must be, like, everything is so well arranged. Until we look at human society, everything is fine. And so we need to move. If we want to know who this creator is, we need to move from this step. We can't stay there forever. We all start there. But if we stay there, I'll tell you, you will see as we start reflecting, you will see how, if we stay there, the gate is wide open to shirk. Shirk means God creates, but of course, without water, the plant doesn't grow. Without water, there will be no life. As if we don't say it, but it feels as if this is also needed. God creates, but of course, things also are important. So God is very vague. It's not clear in our mind, and especially in our hearts. And that's why in the Quran, in Surah Yusuf, Surah 12, Ayah 106, we are told most people believe in God only in a state of shirk. Illa wa hum mushrikun. Only in a state of shirk, in a state of associating partners with God. Most people do this because when we are in that stage and we don't go beyond it, that's how, it's not like we're intending to commit shirk. No, it's like by default, we are not intending because we are mindless, we are in ghafla, we are in heedlessness, we are not aware. That's what unawareness is. We are not aware what we're doing, what the consequences of what we are doing are. So if we want to move forward, we can't do it on our own. We can try very hard to reflect, to do something. We feel I need guidance, like Ibrahim alayhi salam. And that's where I start feeling the need for the Quran. It's not just that book up there, but like, what is telling me? Is it true? Does it work? Is it relevant? And so we look at the ayat of the Quran, the verses, the units, and there it says, look at the ayat in the creation. Look at the world, look at yourself, look around you. And it is only that way that I get to know God with his beautiful name as my Rabb, as our sustainer here and now, with his different names and attributes. And only then I can make the shahada. In the beginning, I cannot make the shahada. When I say there must be a creator, this is not la ilaha. This is not, there is no deity. There is nothing can create anything. Nothing is the source of anything. That's what the shahada is, except God. The shahada already includes all of the names of God. Because when I say there is no God no deity, nothing worth worshiping, adoring, asking help for except God. I'm saying there is no provider except God. There is no healer except God. There is no giver of life except God. What is this doing? We'll come back there. So Shahada is already, and I need to testify. I need to witness in order to testify. How can I testify something I've never seen? So you say, to be Muslim is easy. You take the Shahada. No, you don't. You take the Shahada. You also perform the Shahada. We should be always, Shahada is supposed to be every day. Before we go to sleep, we witness again. It means all that day we witnessed that truly nothing is the source of any goodness or any creativity except God. This is a huge claim. We just take it, we just say it and pass. So how to look at the ayat in the creation, how these things in the creation are ayat that indicate the names of God. That's what we learn from the Quran. We learn to reflect on the ayat in the creation by means of or under the guidance of the ayat of the Quran. It's a parallel reading. If you read the Quran without ever going to the creation, you're not reading the Quran. If I have a map and the map it's a treasure map, it's a simple example I always give this. It's a treasure map, and if I follow it, I'll find the treasure. Unless I follow and go out and actually follow it, will I find the treasure? But I say the Quran is the best book. It is our book is the best. This is the treasure map. This treasure is a great treasure. There is no treasure as far as I'm concerned, if I don't go out. Now, in science, it's the other way around. You're studying the world, but without any guidance. Like using it and interpreting it in whatever I think it is. It's like a movie without script, without sound, and studying the Quran without studying the world, the creation, the world of being, is like the sound without the movie. Can't really make much sense of it. So, an example is just to see that all this is like repeated so many times. Yesterday I wanted to, we're talking with Isra, let's put some Quranic ayat, but there were so many. So I copy pasted some, and some of them I started just putting the numbers. I said, okay, it's too many, just so many. It's just like people don't talk about those verses, but they are the majority. So in Surah Al-Ra'd, Surah 13, it starts with, I'm just going through, just listen and see what the Quran is talking about. Look at the topic, when you think Quran, what do you think? The book, but like, what is it talking about? Usually, if we say what we hear in the mosque, prayers, fasting, maybe, yeah, charity. Now, this is the beginning. I'm starting the first ayat, the first verses. The first is always the theme. If you start an essay, you say the first, most important thing at the beginning, right? The same here. So it starts with Alif Lam Ra. Those are the ayat, the signs of the books, of the book. And what your Rabb, your sustainer, has sent down to you is the truth, yet most people do not believe. God is he who has raised up, so it is not God, he is who has raised up the heavens without any support that you can see, and then he has established on the throne and he has made the sun and the moon subservient, each running its course by a term set by him. He regulates all that exists. He makes the ayat, the signs, clear so that you will be certain of meeting your sustainer. And God is he who has spread the earth wide and placed on it firm mountains and running waters, and created thereon two genders of every kind of fruit. And it is God is he who causes the night to cover the day. Truly, in all this, there are signs, ayat, for people who reflect. لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. All this are ayat. This is God. So in order to understand God, you have to reflect on the ayat. Which ayat? The ayat of the Quran, 1, 2, 3? Yes, but 1, 2, 3 are talking about the world. So I cannot be reflecting on this Quranic ayat without reflecting on the creation out there, on the world out there. And then it carries on and says, and there are in the land neighboring plots, gardens, cornfields, palm trees in clusters or otherwise, all watered with the same water. Yet we make some of them taste better than others. Truly, there are signs, ayat, in this for people who reason. There is a reasoning here now. It says there are cornfields, palm trees, all kinds of different fruits, yet they are all watered by the same water. Somewhere else it says the same earth, different hues, different colors, different. Here it says different tastes. Same water, different fruits, different tastes. So here there is a reasoning. It may look like simplistic, right? Oh, not only water is involved, there are so many other elements involved. Yeah, but the same reasoning, I can apply it to water, and then I can apply it to each one of the other elements. Does it make a difference? No, but it focuses on one. And then if I apply it to water, I can apply it to anything else. I can apply it to air, I can apply it to sunlight, right? To anything else, but one at a time, because we can only focus in one at a time. That one is 13:4. Yeah. And so now what is important here is that whatever, even if you say, but water is hydrogen and oxygen, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to some bare constituents. You're not talking about water anymore, you're talking about an atom. But an atom is still something that is an existence, just like. So whether you go deep or you go wide, it's all the same. You can apply the same reasoning. Here it's saying it is not what makes these things all different, is not the ingredients. Look, all the same ingredients. They are all 80% water, right? And if you say, no, but their DNA is different, but the DNA is all sugar and phosphate and something. Even you can apply the same reasoning to DNA. DNA is, all the different DNAs are made with the same constituents. What is different in all this? Like here, the different fruits, same water, different fruits, different tastes. And it says, فَضَّلْنَا. God, we made them different. The difference is not in the constituents, is in the way they are combined together. It's like someone comes and said, looks at you baked like all different kinds of cakes and things. They say, oh, all of them are eggs, milk, sugar, and flour. So yeah, but they're all different. Yeah, but they are all sugar. Yeah, but this actually, the fact that they are all made with the same ingredients show your you're a master baker. Someone is making them so different with the same thing. Isn't that more amazing? If they were made of different ingredients, okay, it's from the ingredients. It's the ingredients different, that's why they're different. Here, no, the same ingredients, but all different tastes and different. One is a cake, the other one is, I don't know what, a cookie. One of them is crunchy, one of them is soft, one of them is, let's say, it shows that there is purpose here. There is order, there is purpose, there is will. Someone is making them using the same ingredients to make different things. This is one simple.
They all taste like baked goods. But
Yeah, here
this
it's
becomes
very
confidence,
different.
this becomes
He's saying cornfields, different cornfields, and date and corns, it is quite different. But if you go back, you go to the Mendeleev periodical table, everything boils down to that. So everything is made of that. And if you say everything is atoms, yes. So you can apply that to water and to any other basic constituent. So the same ingredients, so different in taste, in shape, in everything. Definitely, there is purpose, there is will, there is something involved. And that's why we say, yes, we made them. It says, faddalna, we prefer one over the other. We make them different. So we see there is a preference. Someone is preferring, someone is making them different. So you see how in the Quran it's, so now if I can take this and focus only on this. For instance, this is one ayah. It says there is an ayah, there is a sign in this. And I just wanted to show you that all these things are coming from the Quran. So few concepts that I shared before, I use all the time, and you can find, and I can share few verses, passages from the Quran where to get this. But these are very useful 2 points, maybe 2.5, that you use in all your reflections. The first one is, yes, Naima?
So, I think I hear you saying, and I guess it's like reframing what our understanding of the ayah, because like it seems as though like each ayah is an invitation for the universe and what exists. So instead of just looking at it as a verse, in my mind, the way that I'm connecting it.
Yeah, that's why I don't use the word verse, because actually in Arabic, when you say a verse of a poem, it's bait, it's not sign. Sign, ayah, is used only for the Quran. It's unusual in Arabic too. When you use like a poem or something and you have units, you don't call them ayah, you call them verse. Is bait in Arabic. So the translation is a mistranslation actually. That's why I don't want to, I avoid using it. Sometimes I use it just so people know what I'm talking about. I use sign and the ones that people are used to, ayah, because ayah has indication, sign, it has a meaning. So it is a sign showing the way to something else, to a meaning, a world, a realm, a reality beyond itself. So the first question. The first is to question. When we are reflecting, the first thing is to not take our perception for granted. And that's what the Quran does it all the time. Is it you or are we? He says, look at the water that you drink. Who sends it down from the sky? Are we the senders or Is it something else? Is it you? Is it something else? So the questioning means the moment the Quran keeps asking us question, it means your perception, don't take it for granted. So I start reflecting with, I am ready, I am open to see something beyond. This is, if it is an ayah, I don't know yet what the ayah is saying, but if it is more, I thought it was just something like this. No, this is an ambassador from another world. It's a messenger. It has something to say. Oh, really? Are you sure? Okay, how? So at least I'm open to question my own perception. And that perception usually is, I see water, I see a dying plant. Pour water, it blooms. What do we say? Water gives life. I may not use it, but how it feels is what's important. It's not only the language, how it feels. So the reading you received was related to this, that just because we see two things all the time together, we take it for granted that one is making the other. Now, Imam Nursi takes this again and again and again in different contexts, and he keeps saying, look at the cause. It is simple. It is powerless. It is unconscious. Look at the so-called effect, the result. It is artful. It is purposeful. It is beneficial. Look at an egg. Look at the bird that comes up. An egg, and then a flying, singing bird that goes everywhere, that looks at you. So these, and this is in the Quran. The Quran says, how can this, how do you think in your perception, in your ghafla, in your mindlessness, you associate these two together, but are they really horizontally related as you think? Can they? Is it possible? Look at what we are told in the Quran. For instance, in 1620, we are told those they invoke beside God. Say, okay, I believe in God, but I need the money, I need the water, I need the food, I need that. And then those they invoke because I'm expecting help from them, benefit from them. Those they invoke beside God create nothing. لا يخلقون شيئا. They create nothing. They cannot create anything. Why? Because it says, since they are themselves being created. If hydrogen and oxygen are not bound together, there is no water anymore. Water can't keep itself. I cannot keep myself alive. It can't keep itself. Can't. In chapter 7, 199, we are told, will they then ascribe as partners with God beings that cannot create anything since they themselves are being created? So the partners with God, you know, the shirk, the elements of shirk, he says they cannot create anything because they themselves are being created. In Surah Al-Furqan, Surah 25, Ayah 3, we're told, yet, so it says God creates and does, yet some people take as their gods now those elements. If I think it helps me, I will die without it. It becomes my idol, my God. Some people take as their God things instead of God, of Him. Things that create nothing since they themselves are being created, and they can neither harm nor help themselves. And they have no control over death, nor over life, nor over resurrection. They have no life. How can it have anything to do with life? This is from, I'm just saying this, so these reasonings are all taken from the Quran, and it's quite, and in 7:195 we're told, do they have feet to walk, or hands to strike, or eyes to see, or ears to hear? Say, call then on your partners, those things that you think can benefit you. Call on them, let's see. Are they conscious? Can they create anything? And in somewhere else it says, this is what God has created. Show me what the others have created. You said, no, what do you mean? This is what God has created. This is what water has made. This is what I have done. In the Quran it says, no, this is what God has created. Show me. There is nothing left for the others. So why are you attributing anything to anything other than God? In 13, 14, 15, and 16, we are told, the call of truth is made to him alone. The prayer, the call, asking for help in Arabic. Da'wah. No, da'wat al-haq, the true call, the prayer that truly is answered. Because I can pray to anything, but they can't really know me. But the call, the true call, the call that is answered, is made only to God alone. Since those they invoke and call instead of God cannot respond to them in any way. It is like someone who stretches his cupped hand towards water, hoping that it will reach his mouth. It never gets there. Unless I take it, and then I say this water gives life or something like this. It feels like without water we can. It does not reach you. It says, stay there as long as you want. It will never come. It cannot come. It cannot. Where I can do whatever I want with it. It's so helpless and weak and unconscious and has no knowledge. But when we attribute something to it, we are not in a state of consciously doing it. By default, we are giving it. And that's why in the Quran, first question your perception. How do we question? By asking, do they have feet? Does it have life? Does it have conscious? Does it have power? Does it have knowledge? How come I am imagining a horizontal relationship between this and the plant growing? Just because they come together. It's like a kid, a child. I put the switch on, light. Switch off, no light. Switch on, light. Switch, light. That's it. This is our reasoning in Ghafla. Switch makes light. Even if it doesn't make light, it is involved in the it helps it, it is involved in it. There is a direct, but the switch is, now there is no switch, there is something else. It's who made the system will decide how it starts, that's it. It's just a tool. And it points, it tells you about who made the system, how he thinks and what he does. And you could have something that works with voice on and it will go on, right? So would I say that it's my voice that's making it now?
Another example, knocking your door and opening the door. We think my knock opens the door. If the host doesn't open, it can knock forever. She doesn't choose to open. But we have a feeling that if this person opens the door whenever I knock, I see, well,
It means my knock
my
is
knock opens doors. Into that kind of logic.
That
Yes, you
logic
should
is
know.
not illogical. It's unreasonable. It's not reasonable. There is no horizontal relationship. It's like I call all the numbers that I have in my contact list and they all answer. It works. I say, my phone, it is connected to all of your phones. Is it true? Not at all. If you don't pay and if it is not, and if it's not connected to the satellite that all of you are connected to, it won't work. If one of us is not connected to the satellites, it's out of the reach. It's the same. So, but we, in Ghafla, when we don't ask these questions, it seems like things are connected. I called, it answered. Yes, but we are all connected vertically, not horizontally. And the next ayah, 13:16, it says, say, who is the sustainer? Who is the Rabb of the heavens and the earth? Say, it is God. Say, why then? So when you ask people who is the sustainer, they say, God. This is repeated so many times in the Quran. Who is the sustainer? God. Say, why then do you take for protectors other than God? Why do you take others for protectors? Why do you feel security with the money, with the job, with whatever, with the family, with whatever? Every one of us has and you say, yes, he is the sustainer, but like, I need that. And without it, I won't feel safe. And always it is without it, as if the alternative is without it. The Quran is not saying without it because he creates with it. So I imagine, what do you mean? You mean this is not calling? You mean without telephone I can reach you?
Or you should knock the door. If you want it to be open, you should knock the door because the knock doesn't open the door.
No one said no without telephone. You're just saying telephone is not what you think. This is not the central, But we start saying as if the opposite is, or do you mean we will live without water? No, but water is not doing what you think it's doing. Water is actually reminding us through its lifelessness, it's saying, I'm not the giver of life. Whoever is using me is the giver of life. And so here it's saying, so why do you then take for protectors other than God? Protectors who have neither power to bring benefit nor harm even themselves. Say, are the blinds and the seeing equal? Or are the depths of darkness and the light equal? Or do they believe that there are partners with God that have created the like of what he creates? So that their creation seems undistinguishable from his, but things also like God's creation and his partner's creation, we can distinguish them. Say God is the creator of all things and he's the one, the all compelling. I'm not going to go through, but here it is, question your perception. Water, the plant grows, and it seems like the alternative, and we say, yes, but like without water, it doesn't grow. Yeah, without a bulb, there is no light. Bulb doesn't make light. Electricity is coming from outside. That's not reasoning. That's not reflection. That's illogical. The fact that without bulb, there is no light does not say the bulb is making the light. So stop thinking without water. Let's think with water. Water is here, the plant grows, yet, lo and behold, this water, can it give life? It doesn't have life. It does not have life. It says it cannot walk. It doesn't have feet to walk. It doesn't have eyes to see. It doesn't have ears to hear. It's like aware that this poor plant needs help or something. This water, it goes in every single plant, in every single insect, in every single animal or living being, and it works perfectly in all of them. If they trained us, we would make mistakes all the time. We cannot know all of them at once. And you think this is doing all this? Then Imam Nussi says, either, and I'll tell you why he's saying it, because of a verse in the Quran. Either this is itself a God, and the Quran says, you are making it into a God, it knows everything and has the power to work in everything. If that has no power, no knowledge, no consciousness, nothing.
I have a question.
Mhm.
And I may be going in a different direction, but even water, when you take it and pour it on some plants, there are times where it does not work. The plant dies.
If you overdo it,
Yeah, even overdo it, or if you've deprived it enough that even when you pour the water,
yeah, but someone may say it's because you deprived it. It was already dying. But like, even like if it was a function of water, it means more water, more life, more water, more life. It doesn't work like this. If you put too much, it may rot. It shows again that it is not dependent on water. And so the second one is interconnectedness. This is so very important. First is question your perception. How? By questioning the imagined horizontal relationship connection between the cause and the effect. And how do we question that? By asking, how can a simple, lifeless, unconscious, powerless cause come up with this effect that is so artful, full of life, full of benefits? You can't give what you don't have. So now that perception of ghafla starts dissolving. This, yes.
To highlight what you spoke about earlier, verses that start with "Don't you see that God sent
Oh,
rain
that.
down?" And I used to read those verses as saying, "Don't you see it's raining? It's raining," and then God makes the rain adding as a claim. But the verse is not saying, "Look, don't you see it's raining?" It's saying, "Don't you see we are bringing the rain down?" You don't need the Quran to tell you it rains. And
Don't need, that's
the most
superfluous.
innocent person would know this. Anyone who knows this would live in this world. But what the Quran is saying, it seems like it's just coming down, but we are bringing it down. So when you say don't take this perception for granted, it's about saying, well, I think it just rains by itself. But then on top of that, the Quran says, actually God doing it. It's kind of a mysterious thing. We added, unbelievers don't add, people into science don't add it, but we need to add it if we want to make it to heaven. But it seems like it's not a reflection, it's more like, it's just from nowhere. We need to add this to be believers, and it has no proof, so that's why we call it a belief and so on. It gets complicated because I don't actually tune into the text. The Quran is not saying, look, it's rain. It's saying, look, we are bringing rain. With rain, we are bringing the grain, and with the same water, the other verse you mentioned, we are bringing all these different things. We are bringing, so it's a way of inviting to reflect on these events that we take for granted. It rains and things come out. That's how it appears before I encounter the text. And the text saying, come out, look closely. We are bringing. And the verse you just cited, it's funny because when I was younger, I used to look at that verse that says, bring, this is what God created, bring what others created. I used to say, the prophet gave the weak argument there. The word is given. We're not discussing, the word is here. His claim is God made this. He should show something for this. He's saying, this is what God created. Show me what your idols created. And I'm like, that's a bit of a sort of a big argument right there because the word is already there. We're talking about what is this God coming from into the picture. We're talking about this one God, and they're talking about forces should create something, you're saying. But how do we know this is what God created? And because, again, I am taking my perception for granted. This is the world we live in, and it makes sense. Of course, water gives life.
After we
sunlight,
disconnected it from God, then
and then
no need to talk about God
can't
anyway.
follow. All those verses in which you said the true prayer only made to God, and others can't answer the call. I used to read it as this is speaking to polytheists who claim to, Zeus or other
The small little
all
stone
that, this and
idols.
that. So we don't pray to those. So then these verses,
Well,
that's
not
why we miss them,
applicable.
because we don't think they're teaching us how to reflect. We think that these are about polytheists who used to pray for water.
The mushriks of
Other
Mecca.
resources.
The mushriks of Mecca.
But I believe water naturally comes anyway. But that I don't question. So it's highly important to come back to those passages that we go over, simply because we take things for granted. I think I understand water. Of course, water does this.
Mhm. And the second point is interconnectedness. Everything is interconnected. It's like when you take one, you think I only took one little, but the whole thing comes because they're all one. So it seems like, yeah, but the plant is just a little thing. What is it? So if, of course, like water can do this little thing here, but that plant doesn't exist on its own. That plant exists with the earth, with the sun, sunlight. Sunlight means with the seasons, means the rotation and revolution of the earth and around the sun and the sun and the galaxy and everything. The air, they exist together with air. So many things are going on, and water is only one of them. So either this water knows all of them and has control over all of them, they all obey him. But at the same time, the others, each one of them, I can apply the same reasoning as I'm applying for water. So each one of them is controlling all the others. It's there are so many contradictions. Which one is controlling which? They are all working in harmony with each other. How do they know how to work all together in harmony with each other? And so one cause or few causes are not enough. For that plant to exist, to be alive, you don't need only water. You need the whole world. You need the sun and the sunlight. You need the air. You need the soil. You need all the laws, the order that we call law of chemistry and physics and things. That's an order. That's the laws, as Imam Nursi says, the laws of the divine names. Everything needs to be sustained. They need to be all staying together, to be working together. And so either this water knows the whole universe and somehow just says be and they are, or they are all at the command of one be and they are, be and it is. And that's why we are told in the Quran, that's why Imam Nursi says either it is God or it is, and then it becomes your idol. It doesn't mean I worship him, but I need him. It is efficient. It creates its cause. It produces it, has results efficiently. Or it is an ayah telling that I don't have life. Whoever is using me is the source of life, the giver of life. I have no power. He is the source of power. He is this, he is that. It is glorifying God, making him known, making tasbih, making shahada, alam al-shahada. The world is called the world of witnessing. So the ayah says in 1239, "O my two companions of prison," it's Yusuf alayhi salam speaking, "which is more reasonable? Belief in numerous lords, each of them different from the other, or in the one God who holds absolute sway over all that exists?" 1239. And in 2273, we are told, O people, here is a parable. So listen carefully. Those you call beside God, you're saying God, yes, but you're saying water also is needed, could not, even if they combined all their forces, create a fly. And if a fly took something away from them, they would not be able to retrieve it. Weak indeed is the seeker, and weak is the salt. If they all come together, they cannot create one fly. And this one God or many God is also repeated in the Quran. So now, can we have again 3 minutes? And we do reflect using now 1, 2. 1, I don't take my perception on for granted. I'm going to question here water. And there is water, there is a quenching of my thirst. And this relationship, what kind of relationship is it? This has no power, no knowing, it doesn't know me, it is unconscious. What kind of relationship is this? What is this water telling me? This is how we are going to learn how to hear and read and decipher the ayat. This is a messenger from God. Of course, water on its own doesn't exist on its own. It always exists in an interaction. Here, it is our interaction with when we are thirsty. And we apply to that this is not happening just between me and water. Lots of things are going on. So that will be kept in the background. Why? So that I don't deify this. That's good to know. So I don't say, no, this. And the adab is to stay with this. And if something else comes to my mind later. That's another subject. Now I go back here. Shall we start? Bismillah? Yes?
The question I had the first time you said remind me to say something about it.
Yeah.
Was there anything in particular that you wanted to say, or just that like
now we want to see if there is a difference, because before it was like, do other people have water? Yes, I may think about that, but not when I am reflecting on hearing the sign in this particular relationship. The more I'm going to get the message, the more I would love to have everyone have it. I would feel automatically very grateful to know that other people have water. And when I hear someone doesn't have it, I would pray that they have it. And that prayer can be with words. And if I can do something, I won't say, oh, who is going to go there? I will be moved. Why? Because now I understand the value, the significance. It's not just for the body, it's for the soul as well. It's something so valuable, so sacred. So,
remind me, what's the question we're reflecting on?
the same as before, as we started with. Yes.
Okay,
Water. I'm thirsty, drink water. And lo and behold, I'm not thirsty anymore. What's going on here? Bismillah. I'm going to put I started. Bismillah. So now everyone can see the difference between the first one and the second one. What I want to say right now is rule number 1, listen to your heart first. Because when we think, reflect, all what we are expert at and we learned is to think and reason. Now we are going to reason, but while being aware of our feelings. Yes. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't matter, wherever we are, we will start from there. I'll come to there. Good question. And rule number 2 is be honest. Because we are all going to start somewhere. If we were already enlightened, then why would we even want to, we wouldn't feel the need for any guidance. So being honest is very important. Integrity is very important. Why? Because often we rush and say, oh, God created it. Oh, subhanallah. But actually, have we truly witnessed anything? Is the heart convinced? We haven't even checked. I'm not aware if I am convinced or not. Because I'm used to, I see a little wound, band-aid on it. God created it, and carry on. But maybe that wound is deep. Maybe it needs cleaning. And these are deep wounds because they fester with shirk. So here, I'll give you an example. For instance, we are told in 35, 27, 28, it says, do you not see that God sends down water from the sky? And then it carries on. This is repeated in the Quran so many times. And then it says, and by it we bring forth fruits of varying colors and this and that. But let's stay only in the first part that is repeated so many times in the Quran. Do you not see, also can be translated as, do you not consider that God sends down water from the sky? Let's be honest here now. When you look at, when it's raining, do you see God? Now here, put your hand on your heart, be honest. That's what I mean, listen to your heart. And wherever it is, that's why we want honesty. That's why. It's raining. Do you look at it and you see? Not, oh, alhamdulillah, it's raining. That's, yeah, it's not incorrect, but that's coming also with the culture. That's why the way we are saying it's raining, way of saying it's raining, alhamdulillah, it's raining. It's part of the college.
Bad weather.
Now it's becoming more like that, but like it's, when I'm saying that, what am I feeling in my heart? What am I experiencing? We have, if I want to go from here to London, I want to buy a ticket. When I call and say I want a ticket to London, what are they going to ask me? From where? First, from where? I say, I want a ticket from the, I don't tell them where. Can I say, like, none of your business, I just, like just give me the ticket, say yes, but from which airport to which airport, right? From where I am is important. I need to know where I am if I'm going there. Otherwise, I'm not even aware. I think I'm already there. I think I already say yes, of course. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. I said, God says the truth. I confirm. Sadaqallahu al-Azim means I confirm that God says the truth. Are God is sending the water? Or does it feel like, feel? The heart is what says the truth, not what I repeat.
What if the heart feels?
Heart is here. How does it feel to you? It feels water is coming. There is no nothing. No event is neutral. It means there is always an agency. We can't talk. Human language needs an agency.
So if I feel that it's raining, it's just gonna ruin my commute.
Yeah, but like, let's not talk about the result of the raining. I'm talking, let's say I'm saying, focus on one event at a time. The consequence of rain is another topic, another subject.
Did you say that you're feeling like, what is that?
No, what am I feeling about am I feeling, here it's saying, do you not see that God sent? Am I feeling that God is sending this water? Does it feel like, yes, of course, don't you see? God is sending the water. Can you say this? This is all I'm asking.
Do we even care? I mean, we're too busy with our other stuff. We don't see it.
But we are busy because we don't. If it was something huge happening, I would not say I don't care about it. Again, that's a sign. It's giving me a sign where I am in the path. It means I'm not that bothered about it, whether it rains or it doesn't rain. So, like, I have more important things to do. My breakfast, for instance, is more important. But you're saying it's not talking about the breakfast, talking more about rain, because this water is, without it, there will be no life, we think, in our world. But we say, yeah, because it rains. Like, I don't have to worry about it. When it doesn't rain, then I may worry about it.
Even if I could share this, as I said, rain and bad weather is much strongly connected, not so connected, but
Associated.
associated in this day and age than maybe you're thinking, because immediately rain, bad weather. So we need to kind of put aside that silly association, because it's just
Here,
silly.
do we have an
And also-
association?
And also wanted to share, even in that context of rain because of that weather, we didn't think we needed, it's just this association. Even in that context, many years ago in my town, in the town that I was living, in Charlottesville, we had a drought. I think it was 15, 20 years ago. And the rain wasn't coming. There was no rain. And then they started saying, do not drink tap water because that tap water is Charlottesville water. So buy bottled water which comes outside. They even passed a little kind of regulation that the restaurants can't serve free water in the jug because that's using Charlottesville water. So they need to serve bottled water. And at some point at my university, we even had signs like flush if necessary. And we were like, we're gonna flush. And then we had like 10 big restrooms, so 10 sinks, bathroom sinks. They turned off 9 of them, and they also put a sign saying wash if necessary. They put sanitizers, and only one of them are like, if you want to make good, only one of them is working little. And then during that time, we had that drought. I had gone shopping Walmart or something, and then it rained. It was raining. People were like, it's raining. And then the smile, I was like, we didn't used to say this. We used to say it's raining. And people were like, it's raining. Wonderful. And then that kind of sense of gratitude for it, because we start.
It was taken for granted. But for me here, for this purpose, it is a sign that I am not seeing, if I am actually witnessing God is sending, my connection, relationship with it would be different. So it's telling me something about how I relate to rain. But the question was, How does it feel like God is sending the water? Let's be honest. So why do we say, Alhamdulillah, God creates it? No, it's not from the heart. Iman is from the heart. That's, I am a Muslim, therefore, God must have created everything. How? Did you witness it? Each time I don't witness and I bring in God created it. So I can't use that card again and again.
You're saying don't make it all like
That is called taqleed, and it is not acceptable in Islam. That is taqleed, imitating. You can imitate only so far, but you have at the same time to also do the work. Because if I never witnessed anything, and so I am only, when I am saying God created it, I don't have the conviction. Iman is to have yaqeen, to have certainty. Where is the certainty? I haven't seen anything. I don't see God doing it. So actually, when I read these kinds of verses, this kind of ayah, this kind of signs in the Quran, I am actually saying, okay, if you say it, but who is saying it, I don't even know. So it's a vicious circle of a tautology. I believe in God not because it's the reality, but because I am a Muslim. Why am I a Muslim? Because I happen to be born here. Whatever if I was born somewhere else. So here the Shahada involves the names of God, it involves knowing God, it involves witnessing, seeing, observing. And I cannot see if I never ask questions. And is it truly as it seems? So here, being honest means it's raining. And I look at it and say, I don't see God. And I am not being arrogant. I am actually being truthful. And I'm being humble and I'm saying, it is saying it is God. Is it truly God? Now I start asking. When I ask this question, it means it doesn't seem like God is sending. I don't see God anywhere. Well, I don't see any sign telling me that it's God, but maybe I don't know how to see. So now I am ready to question my perception. I start from one. And I say, how, not why. There is no why in the Quran. It is always how. There is no separation of how is science, why is religion. That is totally a false separation. A why is always the related, connected to a how. How is the true answer. Why is always in the how.
I have a comment. I spend a lot of time with a lot of 3-year-olds in my life, and I haven't past period of time. I highly advise. I just highly advise that we all spend some time with 3-year-olds.
Ask questions.
Start asking these questions that we have stopped asking. And I remember spending a lot of time in classroom that I would ask these questions and really do stop and reflect and think, well, how does this happen? And we don't pause enough to think about it. How does the egg fall from under the tree or how? And it is really eye-opening. It makes me want to go back.
And when a kid say why, you have to answer with the how, because you can't just say why, because God created it. Who is God? How? What does it mean? In the Quran, it says, look at how we create. Look at this, how we do this, how we do that. And when you look at how life is given with lifeless water, it becomes very clear that this water is just like the wires here. They are not the makers. The way that it is they are connected reveals something beyond, really reveals someone who is in control, someone who is doing everything purposely, someone who is doing things to benefit us, someone who has us in mind, life in mind, living beings in mind, and creating for that purpose. There is mercy, there is compassion, there is knowledge, there is.
I would say like we usually ask why though, or at least
Yeah, but
That's
a
nice.
why always
I even
will
ask that.
collapse to a how. That's what I'm saying. There is no how and why disconnected.
Like correcting your mind. You say, why is the sky blue?
Yeah,
Say, how is the sky blue?
you can.
Redirect the question.
Unless it's not, that's not, the point is to be aware that we don't give why to religion. And actually, it's not even a true why, because we're saying, why is it like this? Because God willed it.
Well, how did you do it?
And
Is that what you're
no,
saying?
like,
How do you-
if I don't know the how, I don't know that he willed it. I cannot use that as a band-aid on everything without witnessing. Where is the shahada? Where is the yaqeen? Where is the certainty? Iman does not mean belief in the sense of I believe, maybe, may not be. Iman means I am sure.
Maybe we then they can give it more context to this, because sometimes people who accept that it just happens naturally, but they also want to bring God in. So then this is a kind of a common way they said, especially in the West. They said, okay, science does the how and religion does the why. So how does it drain? You turn to the scientist. He's going to explain how it drains.
Cause effect,
Yeah,
all horizontal,
This
nothing to
happens
do
by
with
itself,
God.
This evaporates by itself. This, as if things are just cooperating. Acting.
You can be an atheist, you can be a believer, as if it makes no difference, as if. Because the world exists on its own without God. Because God in that religion, whatever it is, because it's not the religion, it's the person who is making it like that, makes it, God is at the beginning. He created it in the beginning, now it's going on its own. So how do I know? Why do I need something at the beginning?
And then they said, okay, how it drains, science explains it, or natural forces explain it. So after there's no room for religion left, they think, but the religion comes in.
And people have that need to believe. It's a social need.
Why? So science does how it drains, and then why does it drain? Because God loves us. But God has no input into this. So actually, how can he be doing this, right?
Separating.
Yeah. So
No, if it's happening on its own,
Okay, so
what does
there's-
it mean that
that's how do human beings come to be? As a result of a lot of accidents, random. Why did they become to be? As if you now have space for religion. Religion says you came here because God loves you. But if you let the how like that, just to shift, then why is not going to be a peak? So Yamina,
it will be empty?
generally in her publication, she keeps saying we can't separate the two. Like somebody sent you a gift, and how did that happen? If there is nobody intended to send you a gift, nobody put it on the mail, nobody picked it for you, it just happened randomly.
No
If somebody
meaning.
was going by and a package fell down somehow, and that person was passing and somehow dropped it by your address and so on, it happens to be your birthday, it's all random. Then you can't say, well, this happens, how it happened. Why it happened is Iman sent me a gift. But there's no Iman.
There makes no
you can't
sense.
separate these two, even though this has been a common way of thinking. My students, most of them.
But in logic, you
they
can
always say
show.
this.
In
Why
logic,
religion?
In
How?
logic, you can show that why questions are part of how questions, and they are only answerable with the how. And in the Quran, it says, look at how we create this. In the how, you will find the wisdom, the knowledge, the power, the compassion. And then whoever is creating them in this way, so how, is revealing through the how, through the way it is creating, how he is powerful, knowing, caring,
So it's not
wise.
not using it strategically. We can use it wisely or how
As long as we are aware of
idea
this,
that these two cannot be separated. Is it
as long as we don't separate them. There is no, Allah never asks in the Quran, Why do you believe? He says, how? Look at how they are created.
So you're saying not to use the why?
Now, in the Quran, I'm saying it is not used. Because when we use why, if we imagine that it can be answered without the how, then it's going to be problematic. It's going to be a false answer.
We're not using why to really, because there's a point where there's just not an explanation.
It is not an explanation. It is like, how do you say, susturmak? Shutting if then when the child says, why is it like this? God willed it. You are shutting him out. Down. You didn't say, you will think, oh, it is because God willed it. How am I going to tell him, to show him that he will see, yes, God willed it this way. So I will show him how, look, different fruits, all the same ingredients, how they are put together shows that the one who is using these ingredients knows us, knows our needs, it has power, has this, has compassion, has a sense of art, of beauty, of this. Now the child knows that God has willed it. I can't just say God willed it, but actually I cannot explain it. It means in my heart, if I am honest, it doesn't seem like God has willed it. It is happening on its own. That's not what I'm witnessing. I'm not witnessing God willed it, but because I don't know what to say to the child, I say, God said it. That's, and then the problem is not with the why, it's how we are using it. It's how we are using it. If we are using it to just say, okay, I know it's happening on its own and everything, but I know that everything is happening because God wanted it. God wanted it, but God is not involved in anything. It doesn't make sense. We're contradicting ourselves without even realizing. We are not only contradicting ourselves in words, but in our heart, we're claiming God does everything and wills everything, but actually everything feels like it's happening on its own. And so I live my life with the awareness that this is happening on its own. That's why ihsan, which is the aim of the believer, ihsan is to live in the presence of the divine, of God. Only is the ihsan is that awareness, that mindfulness, that is the result of iman. Iman is belief, certainty that yes, I witness that there is no provider except God. There is no giver of life except God, because, and not because we say, but without water, no, with the water I am. With the water, I am pouring and saying, for instance, with my thirst, I stay with my thirst and say, first, what is this thirst? My body wants something. There is a need. I am this needy. This is who I am. I run away from it because I don't want to identify with who I truly am. I am this needy. And I am in need of something that, when we have much of it, it doesn't seem something valuable at all. But I'm so in need of it. What a strange relationship. Very amazing relationship. And I'm so in need, if I stay like 2 days without drinking, I would like, it seems like, how come I am really looking forward to this? Who are you that I am so in need of you? Who are you? And then it will start speaking to me. Do you know me? What kind of relationship do we have? How are you related to me when you don't seem to know me? And he says, oh, I know you in other ways. I am a messenger. It is then that I will start questioning. And then subhanallah says, I am so weak and so helpless that I am in need of this helpless thing here. And this helpless thing comes in, and lo and behold, a miracle happens. When I am aware and present, it is a miracle because it has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with this being, with this creature. And the result, I say, did you do this? It says, I have no life. I don't know. I have no power over you. Then the question changes. It becomes, who is giving me this feeling of energy, of life, of comfort, of relief with this shapeless, lifeless thing? Who is doing this? Then my question starts, who is doing this? Who are you? Who are you who creates this miracle through this lifeless thing? Then subhanallah, subhanallah means you are beyond anything I ascribe to you when I am mindless. This is so amazing. And I stay there. I milk that all. I don't just say, oh, okay, I got it. It's God. No, you're just copying. Hey, just a second. Let's stay there with that feeling. We are getting to know this Rabb. We don't know him yet. We just said God, 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 but we don't know him. And then you stay there and then you say, subhanallah. And then when you say alhamdulillah, it is and and then that's why in the Quran it says, for instance, in Ankabut 99:63, it says, if you ask them, who sends, if you ask them, it means it's talking about the mushrikeen, not the mushrikeen of Mecca. It's not talking about Mecca. There is no Mecca here. It's talking this, every ayah speaks to me, right? The Prophet said, you want to speak to God? Listen to the Quran. He's speaking to you here and now. It says, if you ask them, those who have partners with God, who sends water down from the sky and gives life with it? It's very clear, specific. But to me, it seems like it's directly giving life. My telephone is directly calling yours. Who sends water down from the sky and gives life with it to the earth after it has died? They are sure to say, God. Say, praise belongs to God alone. Then why are you grateful to everything? Why are you praising everything, yourself and everything else? They are saying God, but they are not present. The heart, gratitude, the praise come from the heart. The heart is not witnessing anything. It is witnessing water. Thirst is quenched. I'm thirsty. Water. Oh, water. Or if you like some kind of other drink, oh, I love this. I love it. I love it. My relationship is horizontal because I imagine that I'm going to benefit from them. And reflecting is questioning that relationship. How do I question that relationship? The relationship, who is this? What I have to first stay with my thirst. Because I have to first, the more I acknowledge that I am myself helpless, the more it will be easy to recognize that other things can't give life, can't do anything. Because if I'm still, I just need water now, and afterwards you will see how strong I am. If I'm strong, this is strong as well.
I have a question. So if this is just making me think, so you're thirsty, get water, quench our thirst, quench our thirst. So it's making me think like, so how does our soul know what thirst is? What is the sign? You know, like,
That's a different one. It's a different, you can reflect on that separately. That's awareness, consciousness. We are given, that's also something amazing. I am here, even when I am reflecting, actually, when we were reflecting in the beginning, immediately I go in that as if I am watching myself, my body, and everything. That's called, we are created conscious. But that's something else. Now we are taking for granted that we are conscious. And in another reflection, we can reflect on. But I think we need to start with something that is more something out there, more palpable, until we learn how to reflect. And you know how this 2963 ends? It says, they say God, who sends the water and gives life with it? They say God. It says, praise, then say praise belong to God. And then it says, truly, most of them do not use their reason. لا يعقلون. And in the Quran, reason is the heart that reasons. The heart reasons. And he's saying these people don't reason. They say it's God, and then their praise go to anything but God. They may say Alhamdulillah, but like, Alhamdulillah, these cupcakes, they're delicious. I am totally, my heart, my emotions, my praise is all horizontally directed to the cupcake, but I'm saying Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, but no hamd is going there because I'm not aware of the connection. Does it make sense? Why reflection is so important? Why an hour reflection will change the quality of 1 year of worship? Because without reflection, the gate to shirk is wide open. And that God is not. Sure. No problem, no problem. There is no, we are not living in the presence of God. Now, when I stop and get in touch with my thirst, even though it's discomfortable, I will say, when I decide I am going to, now we learn together, we learn step one, step two, right? To question about perception, and then everything is interconnected, including myself. We learn that. Now I'm going to put it in practice. When I'm going to practice, if I have 10 minutes, in that 10 minutes, I am not going to answer the phone. I'm not going to be busy with something else. And of course, we are used to not sitting. So, okay, put the timer on. I used to put a timer. And I didn't have something like this. Now it's much easier. It was like the timer, like approximately with an alarm clock. And then sit, because after 2 minutes, it says, it was enough. Let me go. You say, no, you tell the body, just like you tell a child, sit down here, and then you do whatever you want. Sit down. And especially if it's like thirsty, it says, where is the water? Oh, just a second. Alhamdulillah that we have Ramadan, so like we are trained to be wait a little bit, and then you stay with that thirst, and that thirst tells you you are so needy, and you say, how come I am needy of something has nothing to do with me? What does it mean? And then say, who are you? What is our connection? Like suddenly you find, like they tell you this is your sibling or something, say, I don't know you. Listen, water is familiar, but suddenly you start seeing, yes, it's familiar because I was taking it for granted. But now that I'm present, it's very strange, very weird. This will come into my body and suddenly I will feel good. What is this? What's going on? Can this give me life? That's what it is being itself. It is being created. It cannot create anything. It cannot see you. It cannot hear you. So who is there, that's with that awareness, the questions change. So who is taking care of my need with this? Who are you? What? This is a miracle. Now, this is very important. That's why in the Quran, the ayat are all given from daily life, familiar things, because we take them for granted. We wait for miracles means something unusual. We are at all. Yes, that's also. But we need to unlearn how we perceive everything all the time. Everything is a miracle. That's why in the Quran there is one word used, ayah, is used for the verses of the Quran, for anything happening in the world and for the miracles of the prophets. It means everything is elevated to the level of miracles of the prophet. The miracles like Moses strikes his staff and water comes, or Isa alayhi salam or Muhammad alayhi salam just feeds with the little food feeds, or heal the people, the leper things. The Prophet ﷺ also healed lots of people. That seems like a miracle. When you heal with a little pill, that's not a miracle. Who says? Because it is as if the pill is doing it. No, the pill can't. The water can't. The pill can't. It doesn't know what's doing. Whoever is giving healing with that pill can only be the one who is making me. Does it make sense? So everything becomes a miracle. I think we need to stop here. So, Salat wa salam, we end with salawat, because we are saying thank you to the Prophet Muhammad that he brought us these teachings. And then Fatiha. Fatiha is opening, because after now, our life is going to open in a new way, inshallah. So everyone, we say Fatiha and we go to pray.
Yes, should we be back by 1 or 1:15?
Let's say 1, so that we start at 1:15. I think prayer is soon.
12:30, 12:30, inshallah.
Is it?
If you want to stay with the congregation, no? I checked with you.
Thank you. Inshallah, we'll resume 1:15.